feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when you smell smoke, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
My name is Brian Giles, and to those of you who don't know, this is the first time coming to my channel, this is BrianGilesMTG. Normally I do videos about the card game Magic the Gathering, but today I'm going to do something a little different. I call this my final thoughts. Lately, because of the end of the actor strike and everything, a lot of the content creators have basically come out of their self-imposed isolation to release content and, you know, give their thoughts on shows that have recently come out. And well, I was not, privy to all that, or, involved, or, even, really had any real thoughts about the actors' strike and the writers' strike and all that. I have a real passion for movies. As you can see over my shoulder here, my rack of movies. I have a lot of them. I watch a lot more. I have subscriptions to Paramount Plus and Disney Plus, along with Hulu, because Hulu is my live TV. It's where I live. It's either cable or some other type of streaming service or satellite. I tried satellite when I first moved into my house, my former house in Rochester. And it was just too expensive, and that's with 3 incomes, or at that time it was just 2 incomes in the whole thing. I don't think my stepdad had gotten his Social Security yet. Excuse me. But still, it was. It was just not sustainable, even with the, everything being as cheap as it was. So, this is going to be my final thoughts on some recent shows and movies that I have seen. Now, I'm going to be back in a second and say I was unprepared. I was going to do this earlier, but I'm going to do it now. Spoiler warning. What I'm going to talk about are going to be the ends of certain shows, and what I thought on certain various series and stuff that have recently been released, and some shows that I'm starting to get into. And I'm going to start off kind of on the more friendly side of things. I have watched The Mandalorian. I've watched Mandalorian Season 3. Mandalorian Season 3, I really felt like they stuck the landing, but the beginnings and the beginnings were good, and some parts of the middle were so-so. But a lot of it was to move things along to where things needed to be. The idea of the Mandalorian, for those of you who are kind of behind and still are looking for spoilers, I felt that, the third season, we knew that Mando was going to go, Din Djarin was going to go back to basically his roots, in Mandalore. He grew up on the Mandalore's moon of Concordia, and so he had never actually been to Mandalore. And since the Great Purge, where the Empire basically nuked the entire planet, actually worse, it was fusion bombs, which basically turned the entire planet literally to green glass. Turned it into one giant Sprite bottle. 7-Up bottle, old school 7-Up bottle, when they were actually green glass. So, and of course the guy that was responsible was, Moff Gideon. And he did some dirty things, as we found out in the series. Yeah, he's a backstabbing. He ever since we've really met him, when his first actual face-to-face interaction, Din's first face-to-face interaction with him, you saw how much of a male atomical part he was to Din. All Din wanted was Grogu. He just wanted Grogu. Grogu was his charge, his ward, and that was his thing. And Din made with the Mandalorians, their word is their honor, and he tried to take Moff Gideon's word. He said Moff just he was believing Moff Gideon just wanted him for his blood so he could study to try to, as we found out later in the season 3, to basically try to make himself force sensitive, which the idea was he's trying to increase the midi-chlorian count, and I think it doesn't work like that. It's like a blood transfusion. It gets watered down after a while. And that's why all his clones failed. Because increasing the midi-chlorian count is an act of will of the mind between the user, the midi-chlorians, and the Force. As was explained in Ahsoka, which I will get to a little bit down the road. Now, the good parts of season 3 were the fact that Din is, he's got this mission. He wants to basically reclaim his place, his disgraced place, because in the Book of Boba Fett, and I know that a lot of people dissed on that show because of the flashbacks and the whole back to tank. It felt like the story was kind of hanky janky jerky, and some of the storylines weren't real good. But you had to understand that where Boba Fett was coming from there, and in that fifth episode where Din got banished from the Mandalorian clan. If you watched it, you understand. he still loved Grogu. And the armor didn't take back Grogu's shirt because she knew at heart that things were starting to change. And that's, she could have taken that back, because he was no longer Mandalorian. He no longer deserved to have the Beskar armor for Grogu. Because his clan was as he was. Disgraced. But she was starting to understand that times are changing. Especially, in the wake of what happened with so many of the Mandalorians being destroyed following Din's escape and their covert being discovered. I think she really listened to Paz Vizsla. Our survival was once in our numbers. And she was beginning to realize it. That if we keep going down this path, there's not going to be any more left of us. We're scattered. And that's something that Bo-Katan had shared. That, we're scattered, everybody's going everywhere, doing their own thing, and there's no unity. And she desperately wanted to reunify. She was the leader of Mandalore. She had the Darksaber. She gave the Darksaber to Moff Gideon, believing his dick-ass lies. And of course, this is an adult thing, so it's not like there's a lot of younger people listening. But if there are, I apologize for my... I try not to swear in some of these, but, like a lot of reactors, there's going to be some swearing. Moff Gideon was a dick, and he turned it. He was guaranteeing the safety as long as he was the leader, and Bo-Katan was trying to roll with the changes, and sometimes it doesn't work out like that because some people are dicks, and they'll say one thing and stab you right in the back with the sword you just gave them. And that's practically what he did. And she was trying desperately to reclaim it. And, when Din had rightfully reclaimed the sword through combat, and she didn't want to fight him because she knew her belief was that, we need to be unified. That's why she wanted the sword back. Because everybody was scattering to the wind, and when she didn't bring the sword back, all her followers went to the wind. And she's alone, dejected. It's like, you do it. She was trying to do it, by herself. And that's kind of why you needed the Book of Boba Fett. Not just for how it pushed everything in Din's story, but the whole culmination of what Boba was. He was once a bounty hunter. His worldview was once from I'm a simple man making my way through the galaxy. I'm a man alone making my way through the galaxy. And he learned through all of what he lived through with, people can betray the one man. Just like, Jabba's assistant betrayed him, and then he was trapped basically in hell inside the belly of the Sarlacc beast. Was able to, because of his Mandalorian armor and stuff, was able to climb his way, fight his way out. And once he did, he passed out. And of course, the little thieving Jawas stole everything he had. And fortunately, he came across what one might call even a very friendly tribe of Tuscans that once he proved himself to be a warrior and things, they took him in and made him as one of their own tribe. He even went through all the ceremonies and made his own gaffy stick, which arguably he took that gaffy stick and literally effed up some stormtroopers. And he just straight up murked them. Which, he has that savage nature in him, but he also knows the value of family. And that's what, Bo-Katan needed to have. She needed to have family. And she started to have that when they went to go rescue Grogu. She had that she started to have that idea of family, of it's not just the Mandalorians. Mandalorians is more than Mandalore. It's the code they live by, and that's why Mandalorian season 3 and the landing that they stuck, because it wasn't just Bo-Katan that beat Moff Gideon. It wasn't just Din Djarin or Grogu. It was the three of them acting in unison as a family, defeating Moff Gideon, including the guy that you previously was had to fight to regain leadership. And she regained the leadership by beating him. And then, being the smart man he was, he lost the saber to the crazy crab trap monster, and she picked it up from him dropping it, and was able to free him by using it. He found the loophole in the system and says, "This is not mine. This is hers. She did that." And I think, at least to me, that the Darksaber chooses its wielder. Not because it's a very unique blade. It's made both of a unique kyber crystal. It has a dark blade that no other Sith or Jedi has ever had, and the hilt is made of pure old school Beskar. The only reason that Moff Gideon was able to break it is because his suit was made of Beskar and was fortified with hydraulics. So his suit was almost like a mech suit. A Beskar mech suit. That in itself is scary. And he wanted to make an army of those. He had probably at least 24 of them in that one, setting before Din destroyed them. So, my thoughts on Mandalorian Season 3. It took off. It bobbed, it weaved, it flew through the asteroid field. but when it came down to brass tacks, it stuck the landing. It ended off where it basically where it should, you know, at the end, kind of a happy ending, and not, you know, some sort of crazy cliffhanger. You had a happy ending where he had his house, his car, or, you know, his little starfighter, and Grogu with the pond and his little froggy. My only take from that is that Grogu and Luke never got to really reconcile, and Luke never really got to basically dub him a Jedi. He's a knight because of the, you know, the thing on Plazir 15. He's an honorary knight, but he's not like you know, a true Jedi. And I don't know where that's gonna go. There's still a lot of questions out there in the Star Wars universe. So on the next video, I'm gonna go over Ahsoka and how that really ties into what's now known collectively as the Mandoverse, which includes Mandalorian seasons 1, 2, and 3, the Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka so far. So this has been interesting. It allows me to get my thoughts out on stuff, and we'll see you on the next video.